By 1818, the East India Company had won Bengal at Buxar, defeated Mysore, and crushed the Marathas. From traders in 1600, they were now rulers of India. But winning wars is easy, running a country is hard. Corruption was everywhere. Company officials were taking bribes. The Bengal famine of 1770 killed 10 million people. The British Parliament in London said, enough. If you want to rule India, you need rules. So the company had to reform. This is how the British built the government of India. Remember the dual system after Buxar? The company collected revenue, the Nawab handled law and order. But the Nawab had no money. The company had power without responsibility. The result was disaster. The Bengal famine of 1770. Company officials became rich through private trade and bribes. The company itself was going bankrupt despite ruling Bengal. The British government could not ignore this anymore. They passed laws to control the company and to reform the administration in India. These are called the reform measures. The first major law was the Regulating Act of 1773. This was the first time the British Parliament tried to regulate the affairs of the East India Company. What did it do? 1. It made the Governor of Bengal the Governor General of Bengal. The first Governor General was Warren Hastings. 2. It created a council of 4 members to assist him. 3. It set up a Supreme Court at Calcutta in 1774. It also made the governors of Bombay and Madras presidencies subordinate to the Governor General of Bengal. This was the start of centralized administration in India. But the act had problems. The council could overrule the Governor General. There was conflict between the company and the Supreme Court. To fix these problems, the British Parliament passed Pitt's India Act in 1784. This act created a system called double government. It set up a board of control in England. This board would control political matters. The company's court of directors would manage trade and commerce. So political power went to the British government. The company kept commercial business. For the first time, the British government was directly controlling Indian affairs. In 1813, the Charter Act was passed. This act ended the company's monopoly of trade with India. Now, other British merchants could also trade with India. But the company kept its monopoly on trade with China and the tea trade. The act also allowed Christian missionaries to come to India. The most important reforms were by Lord Cornwallis. He was Governor General from 1786 to 1793. He is called the father of civil services in India. First, civil services. Before Cornwallis, company servants were corrupt. They took bribes. They did private trade. Cornwallis banned private trade for company officials. He paid them high salaries so they would not be corrupt. He laid the foundation of the Indian civil service, later called the steel frame of British rule. Second, police reforms. He created the modern police system. Each district was divided into units. A daroga, an Indian officer, was in charge of each unit. Later, the post of superintendent of police was created. Third, judicial reforms. Before this, the collector had both revenue and judicial powers. Cornwallis separated them. Revenue work was separate, judicial work was separate. This was called separation of powers. Cornwallis reorganized the judicial system. For civil cases, there were district courts. Above them were 4 provincial courts at Calcutta, Dhaka, Murshidabad, and Patna. The highest civil court was Sadar Diwani Adalat. For criminal cases, the highest court was Sadar Nizamat Adalat. All these reforms were collected in a code. It was called the Cornwallis Code, issued in 1793. The Cornwallis Code introduced the principle of rule of law. That means even government officials were answerable to the courts. European subjects were also brought under jurisdiction. This was the foundation of the legal system in British India. So from 1600 to 1857, the East India Company went from traders to rulers to administrators. They came for spices, they stayed for revenue. They built an empire with battles, treaties, and laws. They created the civil service, the police, and the courts that still influence India today. That's the complete story of colonial rule in India for Class 8. If this series helped you, like, subscribe, and comment.